Good afternoon. This is Fun Friday Live with Stampin' with Jen. Welcome. It's October 20th. That means only 11 days till Halloween. So I'm looking forward to, I have a big event tomorrow and looking forward to that. And let's see, I'm going to try and bring this up so I can see my comments. I'm not sure how to do that at this point. I had it last week, but let's see. Get my mouse out. And we'll go here. So how's everybody doing today? Just got another minute or so, and we'll start the whole lesson, or I'll start up my Fun Friday, but I've got to try and find myself here first so I can see. So, technical. There we go. Let's see. Nope, that's not what I want to do. It took me to a smaller version of it. Oh, there we go. Now I can see where there would be comments. So this is a new process for me. It is 3 o'clock and I'm going to go ahead and start live now. My name is Jenny Fetz and I'm independent demonstrator, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from East Contra Costa County, out by Brentwood, Oakley, Knightson, Antioch, all those fun areas in East Contra Costa County. Matter of fact, we just had an earthquake earlier this week. Normally don't get those out here, and it was actually only about a 15-minute drive from here was where it was centered, over on the Delta. So anyway, I want to welcome those of you who are joining me live, and if you're watching a replay, great. Welcome you to that too. Go ahead and do #replay so I know that you've watched. I would love to be able to say hello to you at some point during the week, but anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. We are going to make today a treat holder. Let me show you the final project. This is one we made in my class, my card class last night, and I cased this from a lady by the name, her name is Terry Gaines of Create with Terry Gaines. So anyway, and this is really cool. It opens up, it's a box, it opens up, and you can fit 2 fun size candies in there. So we're going to make that. This is the Halloween one I'm in, like I said, made last night. And we're going to make a Christmas one right now, or winter one. And I'll show you a few others that I've made that I'll be using for the, I'll be selling at my craft fair pop-up tomorrow. So anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. We're using Misty Moonlight is the cardstock we're going to be using. It is 11 by 3. And then we're also going to be using some DSP from the Berry Christmas. And I'm going to have you guys share with me which one you think we should choose of this, the one with the trees or the one with the, looks like the poinsettias and the stars. So we're going to use one of those. We're also going to use the mitten stamp from the Celebrate with Tags. And we're going to use the Modern Oval Punch, which can be found in the mini catalog on, let's see, what page was that on again? It is on page 54, right here. It is part of the Modern Garden Bundle. So let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to do first is we've got our 11 by 3, and we have to score it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks about 6 times. And we're going to need the long arm on our trimmer score so that we can score, because we score all the way up to 8.5. And I'm actually going to start with scoring at 1 1/4. And I'm going to use my light knob because that's the scoring one. I'm going to leave the darker one up here because that's the cutter and I don't want to cut my paper. I've done that before. So we're going to score at 1 1/4, at 2, 3 3/4. Let's see, 4.5, 7 3/4, and then 8.5. And we're done with that, so I'm going to go ahead and put this away off to the side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our modern oval punch, and if you look at your paper, and you can see it here, you've got the 4 closer score marks on this end, and then you got 2 score marks farther down on the paper. We're going to use our modern oval punch, and we're going to center it in between and push it all the way down to the bottom. And what you're going to see is you're going to see the score lines, the first 2 score lines, the 1.5 and the 2-inch score line up there, and we're going to punch that. All right, and so we've got our oval right here, and this is what's going to hold the candy. Now, the next part I can do by just, it's hard to give words for me on this one, but they talk about valleys and mountains, but I don't understand it. So you're going to take this, you're going to fold it up at the 1.5 score line, flip it over, and then you're going to fold it up at the 2-inch score line. So now you have what looks like a really tiny hole right there. And then we're going to fold down on the rest of the fold marks, or the score marks. We'll burnish that. Burnish again. Burnish, you know, burnish, burnish, burnish. It makes it a lot nicer. It makes it a lot easier. And actually, I didn't burnish these, but I'm going to burnish them just with the tip. Just because if you try and burnish them too much, it's really thin right there and you don't want to rip it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our tear and tape and put it right here at the base, because what we're going to do is we're going to fold this up. Oh, I take it back. We're not going to put it right here. We're going to put it on the back side, because when we fold it up, we're going to make the square or the pocket for the candy. So let's go ahead and get our tear and tape. And I'm going to just put it right along the edge, from edge to edge, right on the edge of that. There we go. And I like to burnish my tear and tape as well, because sometimes it pulls up if you don't. Grab my take a pick tool. We're going to go ahead and pull the backing off of that. And now we're going to see now the tear and tape is on the underside. We're going to lift it up and fold it over so it folds a rectangle. And I try and keep this somewhat flat. Let's see, I'll bend that way so you can see it. So it's flat on the ground, or on the table. And then I'm going to just attach it to the back wall so you can see how it's created a rectangle and a pocket here. And this is where, like I said, the candies fit in. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to decorate the front. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take the DSP, which is 2 3/4 by 2 1/4. It's almost not quite a square, but it's hard. You got to make sure you measure it the right way, because they're really close in measurements. So 2 3/4 by 2 1/4, and I think I'm going to go with the one with the poinsettia at the top, only because our mitten is going to cover the bottom, and that would cover up all the trees on this one. All right, so let's go ahead and glue that. I'll use my Tombow glue. And center it in that top rectangle. And just slightly push it down. All right, so that's there. That's the cover. And we see how it looks. All right, perfect. We're gonna set this aside now. I'm gonna grab my scrap, and I am a big scrap person. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get my mitten and stamp and put it on a block. And we're going to stamp it in Misty Moonlight, which is the same color as the card base. And all right, there we go. It's fully loaded. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp, lift up. Now, here's the fun thing. We're going to have to fussy cut this because although this set did have some dies with them, the dies were retired this last year. So I'm not going to use the dies for you guys because they're not available, but I am going to fussy cut. So we're going to go ahead and just fussy cut around. And this mitten is actually very easy to fussy cut because there's not a lot of twists and turns and points and angles. It's pretty straightforward in terms of just going around the edge. There's not a lot of complicated edges. So, all right, here we go. And we're almost done. I don't mind fussy cutting when it's like this, but I'm not a big fussy cutter. I prefer the dies, to be perfectly honest. But that's because I like to go fast when I'm making things. I'm not just slow and easy. I'm not a Sunday stroller, I guess you could say, when it comes to stamping. I like to crank them out as much as possible. So I'll make this a little bit smoother on the edge. The tip with fussy cutting is not to move your scissors, but to move the paper that you're cutting. And it makes it a lot easier. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use our mini Stampin' Dimensionals to attach this, but we're only going to attach a part of it to the bottom of the box, the base down here, because what happens is that this mitten, when it's elevated a little bit, will help keep the box sealed or closed. It's sort of like a latch. So we'll go ahead and grab our Stampin' Dimensionals. I use the mini ones. And I'm gonna just sort of get an idea of where I want to put them. It looks like I want to keep them on the lower half of the mitten here and just below the thumb. So I'll probably go down here. And then, oops, maybe one right there. Let's see, before I do that, let's see. I could probably put one more right there. So we're going to put one more right there. All right. And, oops. Sometimes it's easier just take them off with your finger than the Take-A-Pick tool. All right, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to close the lid right there. And I'm going to put this on just like that. And we've got, there we go. We've got our box to put our treats in. We'll go ahead and put our Skittles in here. Like I said, these can fit, if they're the bagged ones, I found that they can fit 2 in there. But there we go, we have our treat box for Halloween and Christmas. Christmas. I'm going to use these. I'm going to sell these. I've got actually 30 of them or 28 of them for Halloween. And let me show you a couple of those that I've done. Now, I did use, I'm going to admit it, because it's for a pop-up Halloween event I'm doing, I did use some retired DSP from Stampin' Up! And this is really cool. I love this one with the candy in it. It was all black and white, and I used my Stampin' Blends to color that in. And then this candy cane is from the Tricks and Treats die cut set, as is this cute ghost. And the word boo is from the Stampin', the Tricks and Treats Stampin' Up! Or die set. The ovals here, I use some very old oval punches I have, but they do have a great punch set. It's a double punch with oval, and it's got a decorative edge on the larger oval and a smaller straight edge on the smaller oval that you can use. But there's those two, and then here's another one that I created. And then a Christmas one that I created is using, I think this is still the Berry Christmas DSP, but I used one of the smaller dies from the Mary's Trees, and it has the trunk on it, and I used that, and the tree is the latch for the box. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I will go ahead and what I'm going to have you guys do is, because there's no place for me to place files on my page because it's not a group, what I will do is, when you've watched this video, if you would like the instructions for this, go ahead and make a comment, and I will send you the instructions for this, since there's no place for me to actually put the file on my page. So, well, thank you so much for joining us, or joining me, and have a great Friday and a great weekend. And I will see you next Friday for Fun Friday Live. Thanks. Bye-bye.